Hi, everybody. It's Mark Walker, Head of Member Services with I4CP for another rundown of the latest I4CP Talent Acquisition Standing Call Series. This week focused on virtual onboarding with our special guests, Corina Kolbe and Sarah McLamb from Zillow. We've got a great backdrop in terms of the growth of their organization, the different business units that have really expanded their footprint across the United States. As we started to unpack how they're thinking about that growth, they had set a mission to improve their onboarding and do many of those things virtually over this year. That got fast forwarded very quickly based on the coronavirus, and what was going to be a year project got done in 3 weeks. Yes, they focused on a minimal viable product, but several of the things that both Sarah and Corina shared really emphasized how they could integrate several of the different important things that happened on day one to really make an employee feel welcome, feel connected, and productive as soon as possible. They described a bit of the from and to in terms of pre-COVID and today as to how they really moved this process forward. And it took a village. They really had a strong cross collaboration from not only inside the HR functions with learning and talent acquisition being at the forefront, but they also really had to leverage technology, supply chain, et cetera, to really drive this in a successful process. We also learned a little bit of the backdrop of their Hack Week, which they shared a story about their CEO and his involvement. Fun to see how they have driven innovation through a series of time dedicated to creative projects within the organization. As we opened up the discussion to community questions, we were able to tackle some things that were pressing in talent acquisition leaders' minds. Specifically, we dove into what are organizations doing to really evaluate the onboarding experience and how often are they surveying new hires. Anywhere from 30 to 90 days was the typical time frame, but we really wanted to understand how they're extending that to evaluate the impact to performance as well. We also had a series of questions around are candidates getting cold feet and not accepting offers, as well as how are organizations thinking about furloughing or redeploying their staff, especially in the TA world when they may not be hiring. We heard several organizations talking about redeployment as opposed to furloughing and really thinking about what is confirmed in our recent Pulse survey around TA organizations thinking about building pipelines for a fast restart or really focusing on improving current process to make sure that they have cleaned up things that they didn't have time for in previous state. Other data points that we were able to pull out were some recent Pulse survey on the percentage of senior leadership teams focus on return to work, which is increasing more and more as these task forces come together around redefining their return to work strategies, as well as their discussions around how do they create the right workplace safety and what policies need to be incorporated to drive that change. As I leave you, a reminder that we are continuing to add to our resource site. We have significant depth around next practices and are continuing to surface great video examples of how organizations are really rising to the occasion to both manage their current employees, attract future employees, and set their organizations in motion for success in the future. I hope this finds you well and that you are looking forward to a strong end of the week.